Hello and welcome to Waverly. I'm Jeremiah Longnecker. Thanks for spending some time with me here on Cedar Falls Community Television, Channel 15. Today, we have our premiere episode of the Cedar Falls Rugby Club. They will be playing in sub-state play today here in Waverly. Cedar Falls in its inaugural season, having a terrific year. We take a look at where the Tigers stand in the Class 2A Eastern Iowa Division. Trail only Waverly Shell Rock. Waverly Shell Rock 11-1 on the season. You can see the Tigers in at 9-2-1. One of those losses absorbed very early on in this season to the top seeded Waverly Shell Rock team by a score of 12-5. Admittedly, the Tigers really hadn't had their bearings. A lot of players knew. That would improve significantly over the course of the season. You can see Iowa City, Cedar Rapids, Washington, Mason City, and Cedar Rapids Spartans who come in right behind. You can see the matchups for the Eastern Division in the sub-state. Mason City and Cedar Rapids Spartans supposed to play for the right to place the number 1 seeded Cedar Falls Tigers. However, Cedar Rapids Spartans did not bring a team, and so the Tigers will play against Mason City, the 4 seed. Take a look at Cedar Falls Rugby Club's schedule this year. You can see the loss I alluded to moments ago against Waverly Shell Rock. That was a 12-5 game. Cedar Rapids, Washington, who was a victor just moments ago. The Tigers won by a score of 29-5, then absorbed the loss. It was a missed conversion against the Iowa City Trojans and cost them the game 7-5. You can see the only other blemish on the record so far was a tie against Ankeny in a 12-12 game back on April 19th. Otherwise, the Tigers have reeled off 8 straight wins amongst those 9 games. And you can see the offense has really come along. 50-point output against Des Moines Lincoln on the 19th of April as well, and have put up 30 points in 3 straight contests versus Iowa City Trojans, Fort Dodge, and the Cedar Rapids Spartans. Mason City is the team that we play in. You can see that the Mason City Mohawks have had an up and down season so far. They've mixed in 4 wins. In the lone game against Cedar Falls this year, the Tigers defeated them easily by a score of 41-0. So it'll be Mason City coming with a record of 3-8-1 versus the Cedar Falls Tigers Rugby Club with a record of 9-2-1 in this rugby match this evening. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have the Tigers playing the Mohawks here in Rugby in Waverly, Iowa, right after these messages on Cedar Falls Community Television, Channel 15. Welcome back to Waverly, where Cedar Falls, you can see, getting prepared for their match with Mason City. The Mohawks have taken the field. They are in their white uniforms, their white tops and black shorts. Cedar Falls out in their black shorts, red and black tops. Towards me, one of the captains for tonight's game, that's Jackson Gilbert. We'll take a look at the starters for the rugby club. This is Rugby Sevens. A little bit different than rugby at different international levels. Unlimited substitutions, which is a little bit different than what you'll see normally. And Faust tracks it down. Tigers in the offensive already. Weston Graham on the far side of the field, he gets tackled. Graham quickly gets rid of it, and that's Faust again. Faust working up the middle of the field. He gives it off. This is Custer. Custer on the handoff. Tigers trying to keep the field spread. Let's see, Mason City, very physical thus far. Jackson Gilbert trying to work the edge. He gives it off to Justin Campbell, and now back to Gilbert. Ball's on the ground. Now Gilbert's able to regain possession. Now Paxson, it's Alex Paxson. Weston Graham, Chip Custer, Justin Campbell, Alex Schmidt, Jackson Gilbert, Alex Paxson. And I mentioned Faust, who's coming right at us. Those are your starters. Here's the scrum. At midfield, no score yet. 7-minute halves. Be a 1-minute intermission and another 7-minute half. Ball is on. Tigers are able to gain possession. They're able to move the scrum. You can run the ball forward, you can kick the ball forward, and here comes Faust. Faust able to get it off, losing possession, but right back to him. Faust tries to get it off to an opponent. Now the Mohawks gain possession. Tigers have been possession of the ball throughout most of this half so far. A good strip. Now the Tigers have serious numbers here. Oh, great pass back. Tigers looking for some help. We're gonna cross. And there is the try. And they put it down. So at 5 points, Tigers on top, 5-0. It's a long ways away. I believe it's Alex Paxson on the initial try to put the Tigers up 5-0. And now we have the conversion, which is up and good by Faust. And the Tigers with the 7-0 lead. Tigers controlling the ball so far in the early parts of play. Free kick puts it back in. That ball is live and controlled by Mason City. Game has been played almost entirely on the Tiger side. As that changes here, in the first half. And check with the referee on the amount of time we have left. About halfway through, so about 3.5 minutes gone in this first half of play. So the Tigers forced to move back 10 yards. This is a game that was very lopsided the first time the two teams met. Cedar Falls with a 7-0 lead here, trying to go for the strip.
Step off the line, one step off the line. Red Sox.
You can hear the referee shouting instructions. Many of the players for both of these schools new to this sport.
Look at me.
Tigers able to gain possession again. And this is Gilbert. Gilbert gaining an edge. Now Gilbert, it's a 100-yard field. Gilbert spins out of tackle attempt. Now Gilbert looks like he's going to score easily. So Gilbert takes it from one end to the other, and the Tigers get down. You can see Gilbert place the ball on the ground. The placement of the ball determines where the kick will be from. We'll see Faust with that kick again. You see the drop kick. Ball has to come hit the ground before it is kicked. If you haven't seen it in movies or shows, it is good again. Faust with the conversion. And after the Gilbert score to make it 12-0, Faust once again with the conversion. And the Tigers have the 14-0 lead. So really after the first threat by the Mohawks, the long try for Jackson Gilbert. And now Mason City gives up possession. The Tigers again. No substitutes so far. Coach Piper kind enough to speak with me ahead of tonight's match. Asked him a number of questions. Relatively new to this sport. This is Faust again. He's going to show off the speed. Faust makes a move, and the Tigers score very quickly. Faust puts it down. Faust on the score. Faust will try to finish it off as well. But just like that, Tigers capture lightning in a bottle and 2 quick scores. And that is the end of the first half. These halves go extremely fast. So the Tigers go to halftime with the lead. You can see the referees conferring for the scores. The first try, about 3 minutes into the first half of play, scored by Alex Paxson. The Faust conversion made it 7-0. Jackson Gilbert, after the best possession for Mason City, Gilbert took it nearly the length of the field to make it 12-0. Faust with the try again. And then for the third try, that was Faust. He did it on his own. Just a 1 minute half. A 1 minute intermission. And Cedar Falls Rugby Club, again, in their first season, back out on the field. And they own a 19-0 lead. I'm going to confer with the referee about the conversion as to why that was not attempted. We'll see if we can get the answer directly from him on the last conversion. Why that was not attempted. It was a penalty, and so they automatically get the conversion. Yeah, so it's 21-0 as we begin the second half of play. So any penalty on a conversion, automatically you get the conversion. So Faust credited with both. It's a very physical sport. Everybody recognized that. The Tigers have been fairly fortunate so far in this season. They did lose Jack Steffener to a concussion. Cedar Falls without one of its top players and one of its great leaders, Dakota Southworth. In this sport, the first penalty is a team warning. It's a team penalty. The second penalty results in a red card, and that is what happened to Dakota Southworth the last time out. Southworth forced to sit out this game as a result of that red card. 21-0 the score. Cedar Falls took care of Mason City the last time the two teams played, 41-0. Wasn't there, but it appears as though Mason City playing much more physical. So the one term that everybody knows in rugby is scrum. The Tigers have come out on the first two. That ball goes directly in between the two teams. This time Mason City able to gain the possession. Alex Paxson with it. And it's called the ruck when a player goes down, another player gets over the top of him, tries to protect him, retains possession. You can see Custer gives it off. This is Luke Barrett. Luke Barrett, one of the substitutes who has come in here in the second half. And Gilbert again, Gilbert gets it off. This is Ryan Dunlop who also checked in. We got a forward pass, and that's going to go back to Mason City. 8 teams will make the Rugby State Tournament. That is to be played this Friday. That is May 10th. 3 wins to win the state title. Here's Gilbert working up the middle of the field. And it looks, I believe, across is Ethan Jones. And another try. I believe it's Jacob Kazos who's into the game with the try. I can't see for sure. It's getting a little bit closer to dark here in Waverly. This game was at a 7:30 start. This try turns out to be no good. I'll have to check to make sure I'm correct on the score. But the try no good. It is 26-0. The Tigers with a commanding lead. And check time here in this second.
So we got about 2 minutes left.
About 2 minutes left in this contest. Tigers in firm command, and they are going to go in for yet another score. It's going to be an interesting angle for the conversion. It can be taken back as far. That's Chip Custer who scores this time. Well, Faust will bring this one a long ways back in order for this conversion to try to create a little bit better angle. It's up. That's a tough chance for him, so we're going to stay at 31-0. Just about 2 minutes left. Time does not stop other than with injuries, and you only get a minute at that point in time. So Mason City really just trying to get on the board against this extremely difficult Tigers team to score against. Tanner Keogh in as well. Keogh wearing number 4 Tiger uniforms. A little bit difficult to see some of the numbers on. So the Tigers forced to move back 10 yards off of this violation. It'll remain. Okay, then incorrect. It is Cedar Falls ball at this point in time. It's Mason City that forced to move back 10. Got less than a minute to go in this. Jake Kazos hit hard. And we hope that Kazos is okay. A little bit of a suicide mission for Jacob there. Now working the edge. Looks like it's going to be a score. So the try. I believe that's Weston Grand, and Jake Kazos having to be helped off the field after he has just absorbed the most harsh hit of the game. Kazos, the senior, we'll hope that he is certainly okay. Tigers continue to pour it on. The conversion attempt is no good. So after converting the first 3, Tigers have failed, I believe, on 3 consecutive attempts at 36-0. 36-0 is in fact, confirmed by the referee, who has been a great help during this match. Dunlop off the kick. And I hear the beeps. I'm guessing the time is out. One last final hit, or very close to it. Chip Custer. Keel goes across to Barrett. Now Faust again. We got a high tackle.
On me, Mason City. Steps, steps.
Custer working his way through the middle. Mason City has not stopped in their physical play. Gilbert on the edge, off to Faust. He's had a terrific game trying to give off. He's going to go down. Off the ruck. This is Barrett. Barrett not able to get there. Dunlop just short of the try. And we got a try. It's Dunlop with the try. And we're to the score, exactly the same score as was the final in the first contest, and that was 41-0. This try no good by Dunlop, and in fact, that is the end of the contest. These games are short and sweet. You can see the physical nature of rugby, and you can see how quick and physical this Tiger team is. And see why they are 9-2-1 on the season. And they will advance in this tournament to the sub-state final, looking to advance to the state tournament again, which is in Ankeny on Friday. 8 teams advance in Class 2A, have to win 3 games to be the state champions. Tigers completely dominant in their performance after a little bit of a slow start against Mason City. But in the end, they are able to hold Mason City scoreless. They get successful tries from Paxson, Gilbert, Faust, Custer, and Faust, and then Dunlop again, and then Dunlop. Faust with a couple of scores amongst those. And so the Tigers will celebrate only one possible casualty. And that's as Jake Kazos absorbed quite a hit near the end of the contest. We'll take a break. We're gonna come up. We'll have an interview with Cedar Falls head coach. We'll do that right after these messages. You're watching Cedar Falls Rugby on Cedar Falls Community Television, Channel 15. Jeremiah Longnecker back in Waverly. Cedar Falls just punched their ticket to the state tournament that'll be held on Friday, May 10th. Cedar Falls expecting to be the 5 or 6 seed, but if they play like they did tonight, a very good chance to make a deep run in the state tournament. And joining me now is their head coach, and that's Brent Piper. And Brent, first of all, congratulations. Maybe a little bit of a slow start, but you kicked it in late.
Yeah, we started off a little bit slow, and then we went back to our game and started spinning the ball out and attacking forward, so it went well.
Looked like Mason City came out with a game plan to be extremely physical.
Yep.
The first few minutes were very physical. Teams just feeling each other out at that point?
Yeah, I think so. Mason City's always been pretty physical. They know that that's going to be their strength, is try to slow us down. We have a lot of speed and a lot of strength in our team as well, so we were able to maintain that and then able to play our game and spin the ball out. And
you have a bunch of guys who maybe are a little bit raw. What has been the area that they've improved in most over the course of this season?
Sure, we've definitely been working on tackling safer, making sure that they're down on their tackles, more of a double leg takedown style tackle, so we've improved with that. That's probably been the biggest thing, is our tackling and our attacking on defense.
If you want a chance to take home a title on Friday, what is this team going to have to be able to do?
We're going to have to keep pressuring on defense, spin the ball out when we're on offense, and we're just going to have to play really hard. We have a lot of tough competition.
We're going to talk to your captains here momentarily, but just give me a word about Chip Custer first. What is it that you like about his game?
He does a very good job of attacking, keeps his head up in tackles. He's not afraid to tackle anybody, and when he gets open space, it's fun to watch.
Jackson Gilbert showed off a little speed tonight and in a few moves. What about him?
Yeah, Jackson, the same thing. He's not afraid to come up. He's a smaller guy. He's not very big. He's not afraid to come up and tackle somebody. And then when he gets open space, he usually takes off and people don't catch him.
Well, Coach, it was great to spend some time with you. Appreciate it. All the help for the broadcasting. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Cedar Falls head coach Brent Piper. We're going to bring in Chip Custer and Jackson Gilbert. We'll bring them in. And first of all, guys, congratulations. A beautiful night to play here. It seemed a little cold and chilly, but it couldn't have felt like that out on the field.
Yeah, it felt really good. You know, we're running around and everything, so don't get hot, and it feels pretty good to play.
You guys both had terrific nights tonight. Talk about the different sports that you've played in preparation to play rugby, because you're relatively new to the sport. I'm going to start with you, Jackson.
Yeah, well, I know football has helped a lot with the running and tackling ability. You got to stay low, wrap up, and take them down to the ground with that.
Oh, excuse me. Chip, what has been the most difficult in terms of transition into rugby? What has been the biggest learning curve for you?
I mean, I've always played football all my life, so I mean, it's a lot like football, but different at the same time. You know, you got to keep the ball backwards in rugby. You got to tackle below the chest, and you know, it's just a lot of different rules and you know, just things you have to do to score the ball.
This is it's known as the most physical game that there is. For viewers who watch this tonight, how physical was tonight's competition compared to your average game?
Oh, well, it's a war out there. It's nonstop, and you just got to keep going. There's no stopping.
How often do you just flat out seek contact? You're just looking when you're on offense, looking for that try. How often are you just looking for that contact?
I mean, it's different from football because, you know, when you get tackled, the play usually stops. But in rugby, you know, just keep on going, and you got to keep on spinning the ball out, and the play's never dead unless there's a penalty or it goes outside. So, you know, it's just constant running, constant contact. So that's the difference from football. That has it.
Well, guys, it was a lot of fun to watch. I know our audience is going to enjoy our premiere broadcast and the very amateur broadcast that I gave. It was a lot of fun. I learned a lot as a result of watching, and best of luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
The Cedar Falls captains, Jackson Gilbert and Chip Custer. Let's run down the scoring very quickly. The Tigers got on the board with a score by Paxton that made it 5-0. Faust with the conversion, it was 7-0. And Jackson Gilbert with what I believe is his 14th try of the season. If the conversion was good, it was 14-0. Faust did it all himself to make it 21-0. That's when we hit halftime, and the Tigers poured it on again in the second half of play. Tries by Custer, Graham, and then finally by Ryan Dunlop. And Cedar Falls advances to the state tournament virtue of their 41-0 win. Ironically, the same score that they beat Mason City by in the regular season. So as they head to Ankeny to try to secure the first state title in Cedar Falls rugby history. Thanks for spending some time with me. I'm Jeremiah Longnecker for Denny Bowman. Have yourself a great evening.
Yeah.